Hello, everyone. I'm Michelle Needens. I'm one of the social workers at the KU Alzheimer's Disease Research Center. And we're going to talk a little bit about making resolutions. And of course, there are certain times of the year where making resolutions for some of us is on our mind, or we hear conversations around us. Some of you may be avid resolution makers, and for others, you may be an avid resistor of such resolutions. Certainly okay on both sides, but we're going to talk a little bit about why we might make resolutions, what those resolutions might look like, and cautions around those resolutions. And certainly as we think about being a caregiver, thinking about resolutions may even feel overwhelming. It may even be, my goodness, I'm really just trying to focus day to day on things, and to think about resolutions is really not part of anything I can experience. That is fair enough, and there may be those occasions where making resolutions is more burdensome than helpful. But I want you to think about it, because even with lots on your plate, sometimes those resolutions might drive us towards a more workable plan. So really, when I think about making resolutions, I really think about 4 reasons. There are kind of 4 categories of resolutions in my mind. And we're going to walk through each one of those. The first one is recognizing that change is needed. And that really resonates with 2 different things, either letting go or adding something. And letting go can reflect a lot of different kinds of goals. Sometimes it's about beliefs. Sometimes it's about a responsibility we don't want to take on anymore. Sometimes it's about a habit that does not benefit us. What are some things that might help us think about what we could let go of? We could let go of a belief that we have to do it all. And on the flip side, that might mean adding some help. A belief might be that that because people aren't calling, they're not caring about us. And on the flip side of that, reaching out to someone. So those kind of beliefs, responsibilities that no longer desire. There are some of you who have found it very difficult in life to say no. So if somebody calls you and needs help, you always say yes. Even when you're tired and fatigued, if a grandchild calls you to babysit, you say yes, even though you're worn out. Or if you have been an officer in a committee, a volunteer committee, but you've got more responsibility now with the person with the disease, and that officer role is more problematic than enjoyable. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's I don't want to take on the holiday dinner anymore, that your resolution is really about letting that go. It can be habits that don't benefit. For example, it could be staying up late, letting go of that. It could be letting go of feeling responsible to purchase lots of presents for folks when you don't have the time or energy to do that. So any of those things and so many others could constitute letting go. So we think about that. Adding, it's all about something else entering our life that adds some enjoyment or adds health in some way. So that may mean I need to let go of something so I can add more time with friends, that I need to work towards having respite care so that I can go to the book club that I enjoy with my friends. So sometimes it's just adding something that you enjoy, and that is really important. Where you are in your mind, heart, and energy level is not only important to you, it's important for the person you're supporting. So wellness actions, exercise, eating right, maybe it's going to the doctor. Maybe because of your caregiving, you have delayed some physicals and health issues that need attention. So it could be any of those wellness actions. It could be starting to attend a support group or seeing a counselor. If you're struggling with some depression, it could be inviting kids to spend time with the person that's needing support so that you can take your own vacation. Could be a lot of those things. So wellness actions, new activities, and sometimes it is the new schedule. As we said in the letting go, it might be letting go of a habit of staying up too late and adding a schedule in which you get up in the morning and exercise, etc. Maybe allowing yourself to take a nap. It could be your resolutions could center on some important focus. In other words, resolutions have the ability to almost prioritize what we want to accomplish in the year. And sometimes that's about a bucket list. And people think of bucket lists of, gosh, it's about being terminal and time running out and those kind of things. That's not how I think about a bucket list. I think about it simply as there's a list of things or a set of things that people want to do, and that maybe a resolution can help you pick one to work on. Our bucket list changes over time. My bucket list 10 years ago is different than my bucket list now. And there are many things 10 years ago on my bucket list I never got around to, and that's okay, and seems very low priority to me now. So that changes over time. So it's almost assessing what really is it, that I want to do. What would be important for me to accomplish, experience, engage in? Sometimes it can be about a specific event. That I've seen people who wanted to walk in a marathon or some sort of physical activity to work up to physically managing some sort of tasks. Sometimes it's about having plans in place. For example, a respite stay for the person you're providing care for if they're middle stage on, so you can go somewhere. And sometimes it's about restoring things that have disappeared. What do I mean by that? Hobbies, interests that you set aside, you didn't have time, but they were calming. And maybe that needs to be reconsidered. Strengthening relationships can be important relationships, and can be important resolutions. And that doesn't necessarily just mean with your family or people that are in your very close circle. It can be a much wider circle, and it really ought to be. But it can be about quality time together. It can be about designating specific time for you and the person you're supporting with the disease to just sit and enjoy each other. It could be that you designate a certain time if you're a person supporting perhaps a parent or a friend, that your resolution is to have dinner with that person once a week. or once a month, or to take them on a drive periodically, or to really be able to sit down at the end of the day and watch a movie with that person, even when you know there's 4 things on your plate and your mind wants to drift to those things. Resolutions can be sharing a part of you with others. What do I mean by that? Sharing your experiences with grandchildren, and children, memories, etc. This can be done with the person with the disease. Maybe it's you and that person writing basically a journal entry and sending to to family members once a month that highlights some memory that you or the person you're supporting has, and sending it out. So you're just sharing of yourself. Sometimes it's completing a photo album to give to family members. And all those things can include the person with the disease. Perhaps on your list of resolutions is expanding the circle. Maybe you need more friends. Maybe there have been friends that have fallen away. Maybe there have been friends that have passed away or moved to another community, and there's a sense of loneliness there. And so maybe it's looking at ways to meet new people, or to reach out to neighbors or people in your faith community or in your support group that you think you might be able to be friends with, that you might have something in common with, and you want to explore that. Expanding your circle could mean engaging respite care, or letting people know when you need help. And it also can mean helping others. That even in the midst of caregiving, one thing you and the person with the disease could do is volunteer together. Now, of course, that's not possible at all stages of the disease, but it certainly is possible for a long time, where you're putting your team efforts in to doing something good for someone else. And not only do you feel good about that, but the person with the disease would benefit from that as well. And then finally, it's completing something. Are there things that just you never get to? You want to get to, don't get to. And perhaps some of that, one of those things, 2 of those things should be put on the resolution list. And maybe that's about organizing, simplifying, decluttering, getting rid of all those things that you don't need, want, so that your space is more manageable. Sometimes it's about unfinished projects. You started that quilt and didn't get to it. You started that book, you didn't finish it. Maybe it's that you started a photograph album and it sits there unfinished with the pictures not put in. Maybe you need to do some home repair, but calling and arranging those services has been overwhelming. Maybe something like that goes on the list. Maybe it's taking care of your physical health, and then resolving something on the worry list. So whether that be making sure a durable power of attorney is in place, scheduling a time to talk to the elder law attorney about Medicaid planning and estate planning. Maybe it's looking at facilities just so you know what's out there. You're not at a point this is a consideration, but to just go and look. Maybe it's a conversation with others about, do you know anybody who does housekeeping or mowing, etc. But really looking at what are the things that I worry about, what stays on my mind, and can any piece of that, can I take an action to, at least in my mind, say, if this happens, I have a plan. Why do we make resolutions? I mean, what's good about it? Sometimes it adds some accountability. In other words, if we write it down, we're more likely to do it. Sometimes it affirms successes. I will guarantee you that you are doing far more than you realize, that you are accomplishing more, you are managing more, you are successfully navigating more than you think you are. And to have a set of resolutions and to be able to work towards those, maybe some objective way to experience that accomplishment. It defines priorities that you really have to think about. I only have so much time. There's only so much time in the day. I only have so much energy. I only have so much opportunity. And how am I going to use that? How am I going to prioritize that? And then it provides a goal, which hopefully is something to look forward to. We've talked about before in Mindful Minutes, the equation a psychiatrist once said was the key to success in aging. Something to do, someone to love, something to look forward to. And resolutions can really be directed to all of those things. Just a few cautions, and that is it shouldn't add pressure. If you have a resolution list and it's 10, 15 long, it's too long. Maybe a resolution for you in the middle of all that you are doing as a caregiver is simply one of them. What is the one priority? What is the one thing I want to do this year? Or maybe it's 2, or maybe it's 3, but it certainly cannot be 10. It has to be realistic. It cannot add pressure. It cannot be stressful, and we don't want it to be in vain. We don't want you to write it down and say, okay, there's no way I can do this, so I'm just throwing it away. Best if it's not too detailed or specific. We don't need to say, gosh, I'm going to exercise 5 days a week when that may or may not be possible. Maybe it's just exercise more. Maybe it's simply to call a friend once in a while. Maybe it is to attend a book club. It doesn't have to be regularly, just attending as you can. So it doesn't have to be detailed in specifics. The benchmark doesn't need to be so high that it's unreachable. It has to add something good in your life. It isn't a list of things to do. It really is a resolution about what can add some goodness or quality to my life. What do I really need to add and look at? It's not just a list of things to do. Incremental changes count, as I said, and don't give up too quickly. If it seems unrealistic, if it seems like the goal was too large, the resolution was too large, once you get into it, then adapt it. You don't have to give up on it. For those of you who appreciate resolutions, I say to you, make good ones. Really think about what that quality is for you and what you want in this year, in these coming months. Really focus on something for you. As always, if you have questions or concerns that you want to talk with us about outside of these Mindful Minutes, do not hesitate to reach out to us. I wish you the best in this coming week. Take good care.